Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Manny Pacquiao, Floyd Mayweather 2. That could become a reality. Some people are excited about it. Others are like, we don't want it. But it doesn't matter because if the right person gets involved with this fight, Turkey Al-Sheikh, Al Heyman, Floyd Mayweather, Pacquiao, Floyd Mayweather, Pacquiao 2 could definitely happen. But the question is, does it make sense? You know, you just take a look at what's going on, man. Boxing is once again buzzing at the possibility of a rematch between two legends. Now, in case you didn't know, Pacquiao has returned to boxing, fought Mario Barrios. Fight looked scripted to me. I think Barrios should have blasted Pacquiao out the ring. Looked like he took it easy on him. It's like he was told, kind of what not to do. And the judge gave it a draw. Declared the fight a draw, which I think Barrios could have knocked Pacquiao out. Pacquiao, he's not the same. But anyway, Pacquiao survived. Some people thought he won, but he gets to fight another day. But Mayweather and Pacquiao, you got to understand why this fight is even being entertained. Because it's a pretty even match fight. And what I mean is two guys, same era, close in age, both been retired. One's been active in exhibition. The other one hasn't been that active, but he's back as a pro and active again. But it's not like Pacquiao's coming back to fight a Crawford. You know what I'm saying? Mayweather's coming back to fight a Crawford. They're both coming back to fight each other. They already have one fight. So it's a level playing field. Plus, you got to understand, in 2015, they shattered all financial records, generating over $500 million in revenue, and forever changing the landscape of boxing business. So now that you know that, you can understand why. Here we are a decade later. Pacquiao is, pushing for the Floyd fight. He wanted to fight Floyd after Ugas. He wanted to fight Floyd after Thurman. He wanted to fight Floyd. He even wanted to fight Floyd in a rematch. When Pacquiao signed the PBC, he figured he'd be able to get Floyd Mayweather instead of Adrian Broner in a rematch, and the Floyd fight never materialized. But anyway, he's here. The fact that Floyd says there have been talks about him returning to an officially sanctioned bout, that just lets you know that there is a possibility of this happening. Now, you got to look. Pacquiao fought Barrios. I don't think he looked that good. It was a spirited performance. He was trying. He got some fight left in him, but I'll be honest with you. I don't think even now Pacquiao's got the fight in him to beat Mayweather. I'm just being honest with you. But the thing with Pacquiao, he's like, I want to stay active, so if the Floyd fight doesn't materialize soon, then he's eyeing a potential clash with Rolly Romero, which I think will happen before the Floyd fight. And he's going to try to capture another world title and make history. But nonetheless, Floyd's staying active too, in exhibition bouts across the globe. Staying sharp, cashing checks, keeping his brand relevant. Matter of fact, he's about to go into an exhibition with Mike Tyson. So the question is, does Pacquiao Mayweather 2 make sense today? So I think we need to try to break that down by every angle possible now. Historical and financial power. Look, we know what it did. The first fight was the biggest pay-per-view in history, generating staggering numbers. Even in 2025, Floyd and Manny's name still carry weight globally, the kind of weight that Crawford is hoping to be able to attain, but I just don't know if Crawford has enough time to get to the point where these two guys are. But while a Pacquiao-Mayweather fight today, listen, man, it won't reach the same astronomical figures it did from back in the day. It's not going to do it. But a rematch could still break, modern day records. You know what I'm saying? I even think it would outsell recent events like Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia. I do. The financial incentive alone is what makes this fight attractive for promoters, for networks, for fighters themselves, for the secret society, key decision makers, any and everybody involved. They know if they just want to be a parasite and cling on to Mayweather and Pacquiao in this event if it happens. Because just to get yourself 3% of that overall revenue is going to be a whole lot of money. Now, as far as why the fight makes sense, yeah, because of the money. But also, you take a look at Mayweather. Mayweather hasn't just been sitting back chilling, being a grandpa in a rocking chair. The man's had a lot of exhibition activity, doing the business. So he hasn't been retired in the traditional sense. He fought exhibitions, he Logan Paul, the guy Deji, he fought John Gotti, Nasukawa, and critics mock the opponents, but the truth is he's in the gym and he's staying sharp. You know what I mean? You watch those exhibition bouts. Floyd, he kept his reflexes. He still looked like he can come do it at the highest level. You know what I mean? He's in fight shape. So unlike most retired fighters, when you start talking about a return, you scoff at that. But with Floyd, it's like, shit, he's never truly left the sport. You know what I'm saying? And that makes a return to face Manny far more plausible than if he had been completely inactive. Now, when you talk about Manny Pacquiao, he's already returned professionally. You know what I'm saying? He's actually competing as a pro, for those of y'all who didn't know. He is out there in the breeze. Now, everybody still talks about this Mario Barrios performance. Pacquiao had the speed, he had the movement, he had the power, he had the hunger to fight at a high level. Yeah, but he just didn't look like he belonged in the ring. That's just my opinion. But if he secures a fight against Rolly Romero, I think Rolly Romero is going to expose him. But let's say Manny Pacquiao wins a world title. I'm telling you right now, his stock is going to skyrocket. Because they're basically going to say, like they've been saying, he got robbed against Barrios. And if he somehow beats Rolly Romero, Pacquiao's out of here. So you take Pacquiao's success since his return, you combine that shit with Floyd's name, that would make a rematch historic. Pitting a retired legend, still active in exhibitions, and against a resurgent Pacquiao who would actually have a belt. And that's crazy, man. Other things on why this fight makes sense is nostalgia and legacy appeal. Fans love nostalgia fights. They like something that can give them, help them remember something good from the past. Mike Tyson versus Roy Jones proved that older legends can still draw huge numbers. Pacquiao Mayweather are global icons who transcend the sport. You know what I mean? Even if both are past their prime, I'm telling you, fans would tune in for the storyline. The fight we never got in his prime, but it can still provide some closure for fans and these athletes. Floyd, I know he doesn't care about no rematch, but if they're going to put that Wu-Tang cream in front of him, Floyd Mayweather going to take that shit. Especially when they're talking about another $400, $500 million fight, Floyd making $250 million. Shit, you think Floyd won't return for that? He's going to return for that money. So we know what's Floyd's motivation. But what the hell is Manny Pacquiao's motivation? No, he's been vocal about wanting one last great moment. A fight with Floyd could provide redemption, but he claims he fought injured in 2015. He's healthy now. That's like Canelo. I was a rookie when I fought Floyd. Okay, fight Floyd now. You still lose. So I think in Pacquiao's mind, he feels that if he can beat Floyd, even an older Floyd, that would give Pacquiao would get some kind of revenge out of that. You know what I'm saying? At the same time, he'd be cementing his legacy as the only man to hand Mayweather a true loss. But I don't think Pacquiao can do it. But it is a marketer's dream. I mean, the fight itself, it will just sell. You know what I mean? Once you throw that shit out there, look, it's not even official. And we're talking about it. But the truth is, Pacquiao wants revenge. And that's how they probably twist it as the fight of revenge for Pacquiao and more money from Mayweather. You know what I'm saying? But both of these guys are living legends. And I know one thing, boy, that global Filipino fan base, oh my God, combined with Floyd's American fan base and worldwide name recognition, that shit's going to ensure massive international sales. Things will come to a stop on that evening when these two step in the ring. But all of that sounds good when you look in a perfect world and say, all of this makes sense. But then you can come and say, this shit does not make sense. You know what I'm saying? Look at the age of these guys. Look at the timing. Floyd, 48. Manny, 46. Even both of these guys are in shape. You know what I'm saying? And they're the exception to the rule. But the fight won't be like the Clash fans wanted in 2010. They wanted a mash-up, crash-up, someone to put the bing-bings on each other. They didn't get that. You think you're going to get that shit right now? In 2025? The reality is they both still look good, but they both have slowed down. And hardcore boxing fans, they know it'll be more spectacle than sport. There ain't going to be no drama. It's just us sitting there watching two guys who are just a shell of what they once were. But there is a risk versus reward for Floyd Mayweather in this. You know what I'm saying? That's why you got to really think you got to give him $250 million. Because he has everything to lose. He really had nothing to gain except money. He fight Pacquiao. 50-0, perfect record, down in history. That's his crown jewel. He loved being undefeated. If Pacquiao would have somehow beat Floyd Mayweather, shit. Even as an older fighter, it will forever stay in the perception of his flawless career. And I think they would try to jerk Floyd because nobody really likes Floyd. I think they would try to jerk him on the scorecard, so he had to make sure which I think he would have no problem outworking Pacquiao. I think he would knock Pacquiao out. That's just my opinion. But Floyd thrives on protecting his legacy, so if you want him to risk his legacy, you gotta pay him. But again, you say, okay, well, why risk it? Especially when he can make millions in exhibitions. But $250 million is worth the danger that, Pacquiao doesn't present the danger, nothing near what he possessed when they first fought. But there's still some danger there. But, it may be worth it. Get in there and deal with the risk Pacquiao brings to the table for $250 million. Floyd ain't never seen a dollar. He ain't never seen a dollar he didn't like. But the reality is this, with Pacquiao's current trajectory, man, his comeback as a professional is very interesting. Had the presidential election, he funded his own campaign, he gave away a lot of money. So it just makes you wonder what Pacquiao really back in boxing for. Is it because he loves the sport or because he needs the money? But I do know he does have some options now. If Floyd starts dragging his feet, he can fight a guy like Rolly. Pacquiao can fight Conor Benn. He can fight Amir Khan. Those are all fights on the table. And those fights, to me, are much easier to make. I think there will be less negotiation drama. It can still generate pretty good numbers. But the reality is facing Floyd is where the money's at, but it complicates things. And I just think it's going to be some big-time delays and months of negotiation. And maybe Pacquiao doesn't want that. He wants something simple, turnkey, where he can just go and fight. So ultimately, I think it just leads to negotiating nightmares, you know what I mean? Let's be real, Floyd wants all the money. He ain't trying to give no 50-50 split to Pacquiao, you crazy? He's always controlling negotiations to maximize his earnings. Pacquiao doesn't hold the leverage Floyd does, even with his recent activity. He never has, he never will. The fight could still end up stalling in endless back and forth discussions about purse splits, networks, promotional rights. And even before the fight begins, it will kill all the hype, you know what I'm saying? So, it is what it is. But you got to understand, for fans to really get behind this fight the way Mayweather and Pacquiao would want, just look at the first fight back in 2013, 15? I think it was like 2015 maybe. Anyway, it was a financial success, a massive financial success. But it was criticized for being boring. Fans who paid $100 for the pay-per-view felt cheated. A rematch risked reopening that wound, you know what I mean? Peeling that scab back, with fans fearing another dull defensive Floyd performance. The once bitten, twice shy factor may reduce mainstream enthusiasm, but I'm telling you right now, Floyd is not going to get in there and all of a sudden become a brawler, a boxer brawler. He ain't doing that. He's going to be Floyd and do what he does. And that's why, for Manny Pacquiao, he may looking at, okay, let me look at all of my options. Floyd being one, but what's the rest? First, you got Rolly Romero. This is the most logical fight for Pacquiao, if you ask me. If Pacquiao really wants another world title, just go after Rolly. Rolly's vulnerable, but he's explosive as hell. And Pacquiao still has some speed, experience. He still got pretty good footwork. He could overwhelm Rolly, especially early in the fight, but Rolly's dangerous too. But if he beats Rolly for a world title, man, I think that would give him some leverage in any Mayweather negotiations or cement his legacy as the oldest champion in boxing history. But I don't think there's enough leverage for him to come in and become the A side, but it does give him some leverage, you know. Then you got Conor Benn. Conor Benn's about to fight Eubank Jr. in a rematch. Conor Benn's just young, aggressive. He has a growing fan base in the UK and globally. A fight with Pacquiao would be big business overseas. Pacquiao would be all on it. And I do think it'll be a huge test for Manny Pacquiao because although Conor Benn is less experienced, we saw from that Eubank Jr. fight, Conor Benn is dangerous. So the fight makes sense from a promotional standpoint. Could introduce Manny to a new generation of fans. And, who knows? He after that, he may go fight Amir Khan if Mayweather still don't want to fight. And that's probably the easiest fight to make and the one that's been rumored for over a decade. Both fighters are past their best, but remains huge names. It wouldn't do Mayweather-Pacquiao numbers, but it could still be a big event. Give them both a nice payday. But the ultimate for Pacquiao is fighting Mayweather. Floyd remains the crown jewel. If Manny wants the biggest payday and one last monumental legacy fight, Floyd's the target. Floyd is the target. He got to aim and try to hit it bullseye. But it comes with some serious risks, those delays, negotiation issues, and the chance the fight doesn't live up to expectations. So Pacquiao's got to make a choice, you know what I'm saying? So does it make sense? Pacquiao versus Mayweather 2? It's like a double-edged sword, you know what I'm saying? One side, it's a massive payday, a nostalgia blockbuster, and the chance for Manny to redeem himself while giving Floyd one more financial super fight. Conversely, when you look at the other side, it's a fight between two men in their mid to late 40s. Shells of what they once were, man, with a history of difficult negotiations in the shadow of a disappointing first bout. So that's the downside of it. But for Manny Pacquiao, facing Rolly or Conor Benn may be the smarter boxing move, especially if he can beat them while he's chasing Floyd, which ultimately is the smartest financial decision. But if Pacquiao can get 1 or 2 wins against some young lions, oh yeah, then Floyd, who is known for the exhibitions, which is the safest bet for Floyd, but then Floyd is going to have to answer the call. And people are going to start putting pressure on Floyd. If Floyd got pride, he going to mess around and return to that ring. But if Pacquiao get a couple of good wins against some young lions, Floyd will sit there, get back in the lab and get to work and train to beat Pacquiao. But again, Floyd's got to be willing to risk a loss. And if he's going to risk a loss, he's going to want, that joker be want $1 billion. He sure as hell going to want about 250. He ain't going to come back for no money you giving Canelo and Usyk and Tyson Fury. He like, forget that. Give me 250 million. Give me 400 million, 500 million. He going to want something ridiculous. And, who knows? They may say, okay, this is going to be $1 billion showdown and Money Mayweather, we want to see you fight. We're going to give you the money. But I don't know. I just don't know. But in the end, I just think when you look at it, I think the question is, does this shit make sense? I could see, if they don't be it, the fight happens, I'm going to watch it. And I could see where people are getting excited, but what makes more sense? You know what I'm saying? Legacy or money? You got two legends like Mayweather and Pacquiao, so the answer may come down to what they value the most at the age in their career. And I'm going to tell you right now, I think they both want the money before legacy. Pacquiao could talk legacy and titles bullshit. He want that money. Where else can he go and fight for 36 minutes and make 5-8 million? You know what I'm saying? So it's hard to let that go. Legacy comes after, but it's all about the Wu-Tang cream. Anyway, man, y'all keep cool. You think it's Manny chasing Mayweather? You think it's smart? You think it's stupid? Mayweather out here hitting at a comeback. Is Pacquiao the target? What really is going on, man? That's the question. But if they do fight, I got Floyd Mayweather all day. And I'm just being real. Y'all keep cool. I'm in the breeze.